to my channel. For today's video, I am super excited. So this is actually an idea that I basically copied off of Sarah Hawkins, aka Possessed by Horror. If you guys don't know who she is, definitely suggest that you check her out, but you probably already do. She did 2 videos not too long ago, and the first one, which is the one I'm doing today, which I'm sure you read by the title, is my favorite lowest rated horror films. So basically what she did, which is what I also did, is that she went through Rotten Tomatoes and gathered her list of her favorite horror films that are low rated on there. She goes into a lot of detail in her video. I'm probably not going to go into as much detail on these films or the ratings as she probably did, but I am going to go ahead and just talk about them and let you guys know their ratings. These are the critics ratings, not so much the audience scores. I'm not really going to get into that too much. Now, the way the rating system works on their website is that it goes basically from 0 to about 60% for the rotten range, I guess. I don't really know that much about Rotten Tomatoes, but I think you guys know there's the tomato icon, which means good, and then the little gross splatter icon, which means bad. So I tried to keep it in that general range, and I believe most of these are actually below 50%. One may be at 50%. But yeah, let's go ahead and I'm just going to talk about them and give their percentage. So the first one is Rings, which is at a 8% critic score. Now, I know that Rings is not the best film, especially for the franchise. It is part of the Ring franchise. Obviously, the first film is definitely the scariest, but I still really liked Rings. I know not a lot of people enjoyed this, but I do know that Sarah does have this one on her list as well, because The Ring is her favorite horror film. But I myself enjoyed it as well, and I don't think that it deserves such a horrible rating. Second film, which is also at a 8%, is Prom Night. Now, this is not the old school Jamie Lee Curtis Prom Night. This is the one that came out sometime in the 2000s. I hate calling it a remake. It really kind of isn't. It just happens to be a horror film with the same title, I feel like. And this one involves Brittany Snow, and I happen to love this film. I think it's a great film. Another Brittany Snow film that I almost included but was actually closer to 60% is Would You Rather. I definitely suggest checking out that movie, but I really like this version of Prom Night. I think it's a good slasher film. I think if you go into it holding on to too much thought of the original Prom Night, you're probably not going to enjoy it, but I happen to like it, and I thought it was and I honestly thought it was pretty scary the first time that I watched it. I've obviously watched it since it came out, and with any horror film, I feel like it gets less scary as you watch it, but I really enjoy it. I still think it's a good time. Great stalker slasher film. Next film is Demons Never Die. If you have not heard of this film, I would not be that surprised. This is a British film. I myself am American, obviously, but I really like this film. This is another slasher film. It's a little cheesy. It's about some college, early 20s college age students who start getting offed one by one. Their deaths are set up to be like suicides, and at first kind of the officials, police and school, think that it's just kids doing a suicide pact type situation after a fellow student commits suicide, but it is definitely more to it than that, and I really like this film. I mean, it does have one of my favorite actors, Robert Sheehan, is in this. That's the reason why I watched it initially, so a little biased there, but I think it's a really good film, and I highly suggest it. Now, I actually wanted to try and re-watch this to do a full-on review, and I'm still going to try, but I was having a hell of a time finding it somewhere to watch, so I do apologize if you're in America or outside of the UK. It may be hard to find, but if anybody knows somewhere where I can watch it, please let me where I can rewatch it, please let me know. Now, the next film, I was hesitant to put it on the list because it's technically not like a horror film. It is more of a horror comedy, but it's sadly so low rated on this. It is at a 16% and it is Idle Hands. I fucking love this movie. I feel like plenty of you have probably seen this film. If you have not, it involves Devon Sawa. Seth Green is also in it. Basically, Devon Sawa, who, if you don't know who he is, he's from the first Final Destination movie, as well as being the human version of Casper in Casper the Friendly Ghost. But he basically plays this teenager whose hand gets possessed by a demon and starts killing people off, and he has to try and stop it, basically. And it is a hilariously weird film, but it's really good and I love it. So if you haven't seen this one and you just want to laugh at something ridiculous, definitely check out Idle Hands. And now the next film is one that I actually just recently talked about in the video where I talked about my favorite music infused horror films, and that is Queen of the Damned. I will go down defending this movie. I love this movie. Unfortunately, Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel like a lot of people do not appreciate this film, as it is sitting at a 17%. But I love Queen of the Damned. Like I talked about in that video, definitely if you love horror and music, I think that you should definitely check out this film. It is on the cheesier side, so I'm not surprised that it has a low rating, but I still enjoy it. I still think it's a good time. And the next film is one that I have also had to defend, and that is the Bye Bye Man. Now this one is currently on Netflix, so I'm probably gonna rewatch it very soon. I really liked the Bye Bye Man. I know that it gets a lot of shit, a lot of people did not like it, but for me, aside from the title, I do think the title instantly, people were turned off by this film before it even came out because of the title. It was getting a lot of flack before people even got a chance to see it. And yeah, it's not a great title for the film or for a monster either, but it's actually a really good film. I think if you enjoyed the feel of It Follows, it has a very similar feel to It Follows. And almost kind of a similar plot-ish. So I think if you like It Follows, you should definitely check out the Bye Bye Man and ignore the 19% rating that it got on Rotten Tomatoes. Up by 1% at 20%, another film that I feel like I have to defend, but it is Hellraiser Hell World. I know, before you criticize me, I know that it is one of the worst in the franchise. Hell World's not that great. It definitely slides away from the whole premise of the Hellraiser franchise. I'm aware of it, but I really enjoyed that film and I like the premise of it. It has a bit of a twist ending that I'm sure plenty of people felt like they saw coming, but I didn't, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's still cheesy, but I will defend Hellraiser Hell World because I think it's a great film. Now, the next film, sitting at 22%, is one that you may not have seen. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I know it was originally, and I know it was on there for a really long time. It may also be on Hulu. If you're outside the US, I know that's not a lot of help, so I do apologize. But I'm sure you can find it somewhere, and it is Shrooms. This is a film I watched initially ages ago. I have watched it in previous years, and it is a film that actually terrified me the first few times I watched it. Definitely a film that I will never try shrooms or anything like that, because that movie definitely turned me off from doing drugs in the woods while camping, because it's pretty intense. It's a real trip movie. The ending is not that much of a twist. You can definitely probably see it coming if you've watched enough horror films, but I still like the ending. I still think it has a great ending, and I think that it can be pretty scary at times, and the deaths are pretty intense, especially because you're just watching a bunch of people tripping off of some drugs. Next film, which is setting at 24%, which I actually recently did a review of, and a lot of the comments were pretty positive regarding this film, and that is Sorority Row. It's a cheesy slasher. Like I said in my review, I know it's cheesy. I was not aware, actually, when I did that review, that it is a remake, so I'm gonna have to check out the original. But I really liked it. I love a cheesy slasher, as you can basically gather from this list if you didn't already know that. And the next film, which is up by 2 points, sitting at 26%, is House of Wax. Now, I am aware that that one is a remake, and I feel personally like I know plenty of people that like the House of Wax remake. I know there are also plenty of people out there that don't. I am well aware it is a bit cheesy, like the majority of everything on this list. But I really like it, and I'm not gonna go into, oh, how I love it because Paris Hilton dies in it. Like, that's people's default reason to, like, defend this movie, is that you get to watch Paris Hilton die. I think she's good in the film, and she had said in the past when making this film that she knew people would be excited about her dying, which is why she was okay with dying in the film. Next film, which is sitting at a 30%, is The Boy. Now, I believe I watched this one for last year's 31 Days of Horror. I went to it not expecting a lot, just because I had kind of heard bad things and it definitely seemed cheesy, but I ended up defending that film in that review because I actually really like it. I'm excited for the sequel. Have mixed feelings, don't necessarily think it is a film that needs a sequel, but I'm still gonna check it out, and I'm so excited that we're getting a sequel. Ending of the film, not the greatest, which I talk about in my review. If any of these films I have reviewed or talked about or I mentioned in a video, I will try to link all of them in the description if I do remember. But I'm not surprised that it has low ratings. I feel like this is a film that has gotten a lot of crap, and Rotten Tomatoes I think just doesn't like horror in general. Next one is at a 33%, and that is Jigsaw. Now, I know a lot of people did not like this film. I was one of those people that went into it hesitant. I definitely didn't think that we needed another Saw film. Already so fucking many, and I think they might be making another one. I don't know. But I liked Jigsaw. No, it wasn't the greatest. And it did take away from some things from the original franchise, but I did do a review on that one, so more of my opinion will be down in the description. Next film is The Ward. Now, again, another film that I probably have to defend. Not the greatest horror film, I will admit that, but I really like this film. It has Amber Heard in it, and I think that she does a really good job. I happen to like her as a horror actress. She actually makes this list twice, but that one's coming a little bit later. This is more of a psychological film than some of the other films on this list. And yeah, I like it if you like a kind of more of a psychological thriller. And you like Amber Heard, definitely suggest you check that one out. And it is sitting at a 33%. Now, the next one I was actually surprised to see being in such a negative. It is at 37%, so it is a little bit higher, but it's the ABCs of Death. I've almost always heard good things about the ABCs of Death. I think more people prefer the sequel, which I did not see as on there, maybe I just missed it, but I happen to like the ABCs of Death movies. If you enjoy a horror anthology and you haven't seen either of these, I definitely suggest you check them out. They're basically very similar to the way most horror anthologies are. You have all these parts, they're all, you know, different directors, and for them, they go through, obviously, the ABCs. Some of the parts are really fucking weird. There's definitely some that aren't great in there. There's definitely some fantastic gems within that, within both the first and second, so suggest you check them out. Next one that is also at a 37%, and one that I did review not too long ago, is Knock Knock. Now, I know that Knock Knock is another one that is a remake. I have not seen the original, but I did enjoy this film. It has Keanu Reeves in it, which just kind of also makes it fantastic. And it's a really fucking good film. It's a bit of a home invasion film, so if you're down with that, definitely suggest you check it out. And now we are getting into some of the higher ratings. We're getting into the 40 and up percent. I do believe I said at the beginning of this video that I did try to keep it on the like under 50%. But yeah, so we're getting off into the higher ratings. This next film, which I also did do a review of, is sadly sitting at a 42%. I'm not that surprised because I feel like, unfortunately, this movie had a lot of negativity surrounding it by fans as well, and that is Hellfest. But if you guys know me, you know that I loved Hellfest. I was so excited when I watched the trailer for this. I did do a reaction to it, and I was just so stoked for this. And then when it came out, there was all this negativity around it. I did not go see it in theaters, unfortunately. I did wait and rented it on Redbox. And I wish I had gone and seen it in theaters because I fucking love this film. I thought it was a fantastic slasher film, and we needed a new great slasher film, and I thought it really was a good one. So if you love slashers and you're putting off seeing this one, I still suggest that you I definitely suggest that you check it out because I think it's a fun time and a really fucking good film. Now, the next two films are both sitting at a 44%. The first one, which is another film that has Amber Heard in it, like I mentioned, there would be another one, and that is All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. So this is a bit of a revenge slasher camp film. It's very weird. There's a lot going on in this film. They kind of mix horror genres a little bit. There's some twists and turns, but basically Amber Heard plays this beautiful girl named Mandy Lane, who goes to hang out with the popular kids, and some bad stuff starts happening. I really like this film. I know I have heard negativity against this film. I've also heard positivity for this film, like myself. I think that it is worth checking out. I know it has been on Netflix in the past. It's another one of those that was on there for a really long time, and I think it might still be. So if you get the chance, I definitely suggest you check it out. Next film, which nobody should be at all surprised that this is on my list. Of course, like I said, it's at a sad 44%, and that is my beloved Jennifer's Body. If you know me, you know that I love Megan Fox. She's like my #1 celebrity crush, which may be part of my bias towards the film, but I love this film. It had every potential to be like a great cult classic teen film, but unfortunately it did come out in a time where there was a lot of hate surrounding Megan Fox. Unfortunately, there still ridiculously is, but people were just strongly hanging on that poor girl unnecessarily, and so the movie didn't do that great, but I love it. I think it's just so good. You have like a lesbian succubus who's killing men, and it's just a really good time. And honestly, Megan Fox does fantastic in it. It's some cheesy moments, definitely, for sure. But I mean, there is a scene where she is like crying, and it is so intense, and she just does it so beautifully. It's such a great film. I just wish more people love this film as much as I do, but I know there are plenty of people out there who do. For my last two, the next one is at, I know this was a very long list. There are a lot of films. That's why I tried to keep it like 50% and lower, because otherwise it probably would have been a way longer list. So second to last one, which is at 45%, is Intruders. So this is a home invasion with a twist and some more twists type of film. It's not necessarily anything that you probably haven't seen before. Group of guys invade this woman's home. Tables are turned, a bit of a sort of a revenge twist. I will say there is no rape warning for this one, which is good. It is not a rape revenge film. It really is like a twist intruder film with like even more twist within the twist. So if you like those type of films, I definitely suggest checking out Intruders. So for our last film on this list, at a 50%, kept it right on the line, is All Cheerleaders Die. If you have not seen this film, please do check this one out. I will say it does end with leading to there being a sequel, but we unfortunately have yet to have a sequel. Don't think we ever will. Really disappointing. Really want a sequel. Me hoping to put it out into the universe enough that it'll happen someday. But I love this film. Basically, it is about a group of cheerleaders who die and are brought back to life and have to start eating brains. Kind of a little bit like Jennifer's Body, but with even more women and cheerleaders. It really is just such a good film. So if you have not seen All Cheerleaders Die and it sounds interesting to you, especially if you have seen Jennifer's Body and you like that film, I do suggest checking out this one. But yeah, that is my list. I know it was a really long list. I'm going to try to cut this video down because I already know it's going to be super long. So let me know your thoughts on some of these films. Let me know what are some of your favorite worst rated films on Rotten Tomatoes in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Links will be in the description below, again, for any movies that I talked about, and of course to Sarah's video. Please do check hers out as well. And before I go, a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. If you know the perks to being a Patreon, links are in the description below, along with everything else, and I'll see you guys later with another video.